You, you're looking at yourself.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Hey everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome to the call tonight. We're so excited you guys join us tonight on YouTube Live. All things business. Have I got a good show tonight for you with Mr. Jeremy Benji? This is going to be a good one. So hit the like button if you can. Please hit the bell notification. That do us a great favor. Leave a comment. We love comments, and please send us out to several people after said and done. Well, we got Jeremy Benji on, and he's driving from down to Fort Myers to Atlanta, Georgia tonight for an investment meeting he's doing. So we thank him for taking time out to be on here today. So, Mr. Jeremy Benji, we love the video that came out earlier, but I know one of the things was tell me a little bit about everybody, a little bit about your background and where you're from and how you came to America. That's a great story.
Yeah, so thank you for having me on. I live in South Florida now. I'm originally from the DC area, Fairfax, Virginia. Family both immigrated to the United States just seeking a better life. And uh, my background professionally is I've always been a small business owner. Um, Met Mr. Thomas about 13 or 14 years ago now. I've owned numerous businesses, exited 12 times now, and currently am own a construction company in Florida that builds between 40 and 50 houses a year.
If you guys haven't figured out by now, Mr. Jeremy Benji is one of my 21 millionaires that I personally helped and recruited. And well, not say recruit, but help him to get to where he's at today. And trust me, he's done very, very well for himself. You know, one of the things that I want him to kind of expound on a little bit. His dad was coming home one day where they lived in Idi Amin's country, and we all know about Idi Amin. For those that don't know, give us a little bit of background on that story and how gold got you into the United States.
Tough time hearing you on your side.
And he heard shots and you off.
I'm so sorry, man. I'm not hearing you. It sounds like a robot voice.
Said, let's give it a second or two. All right. If you can you hear me okay now? Mr. Jeremy?
All right, I'm back. Hopefully, you guys can hear me now.
There we go. I can hear you good. Give us a story.
All right.
You were coming home, your dad was coming home one day, you heard some gunshots, and at that time Idi Amin was taking over the country. Tell us how you got out of the country, what gold did for you.
Oh yeah. So unfortunately, there was mass genocides across Africa back in the day, and my dad was coming home from school. He was in a small village in Uganda, and they heard gunshots, took off running, and unfortunately never got to see their home again. So they were political refugees and just kind of wandered around for years. And they used, gold and silver and bartered and fought and clawed their way, and eventually got granted political asylum and got to the United States about actually 50 years ago now. So very grateful for everything that they went through in order to get us here and give us a chance for a better life.
There you go. Give everybody an idea of what happened as far as when we got together in was that 2012 and what's changed since then?
Well, so back then, I was just a regular guy. I was working at a restaurant. I always knew I needed more and wanted more, but I didn't really know how to do it. And I was just looking for someone like you. And I had a friend invite me to a meeting that you were going to be at. And he said, "Hey, you want to meet some really successful guy?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." And I don't know if you remember this, but I told you, like, if you can show me how to do this, I'll quit my job today and I'll just follow what you say. And we've been together ever since, going strong. And, over a decade later, been able to buy a ton of investment properties, made millions of dollars, and just, very grateful. Haven't met you, and grateful that you took the time out of your schedule to pour into me and kind of get me to the position I wanted to be in life. So I'm eternally grateful to you. Thank you so much for everything.
In control, but you got to go with it. Yeah, a question was asked me earlier today. How do you stay motivated when things get rough?
I think it's about proper goal setting, right? Because if your goals are just monetary, it's going to be hard to stay motivated. So you have to have some purpose. So like I've always moved the goalpost. Originally, I wanted to. I just told myself like, look, if I could just make six figures, I'll be the happiest guy in the world. And then I made six figures. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna need a little bit more than that. So then I was like, okay, I want to make six figures passively. Then I wanted to have $1 million in net worth. Then I wanted to have $1 million in liquid cash. Then I wanted to be making $15,000 a month passively. Then $20,000 a month passively. And now it's all about like who I can help get to those levels, and who I can teach and try to bring under my wing, just like other people did for me when I was up and coming, and who I can help make a difference with, and just really try to pay it forward the best I can. I do a ton of like free mentorship for other business owners, and just try to help them avoid the pitfalls that I faced early in my career, and just trying to do like I said, like you did for me, and Virgil did for me, and all these guys who have poured so much into me. I just try to give it back the best I can. But also, like, I have some huge projects that I'm trying to put together that just keep me motivated. Maybe I'm a little sick in the head, but I actually like to work. I like this. I like the thrill of the chase and the hunt. And the money's really secondary. It's more of like the money's just a scoreboard, but it's really about like setting a goal and achieving it and then doing it again.
Tell us about some of the pitfalls that you had early on.
Oh goodness. I had a huge ego, really big. I thought I was smarter than everybody. And if you don't humble yourself, the world will humble you real fast. And I lost everything back in 2009. 2009, I was like real cocky 23-year-old kid who thought he couldn't lose. And oh, I could. I lost a lot of money, and money I didn't have, and it took me years to dig out of that hole. And I learned real quick that making money and keeping money are two different sets of skills, and I had to become a student and really learn about all the mistakes I made. And I'll never.
Now, wow. Now, going back to 2009 when you're really cocky, let me ask you this. How did you deal with self-doubt and the moments of uncertainty on your entrepreneurial journey?
I mean, I myself out of being an entrepreneur a million times. The problem is that when you're an entrepreneur, you have almost like this sickness. Hard to do anything else because no job will check all the boxes like being your own boss will.
Okay, good answer. Let me ask you this. Uh, Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. Our connection is not that good tonight. I don't know what's going on, but those things do happen in this business. So just bear with us, please. We appreciate it. Hang in there with us. We'll be, as soon as you get back, we'll ask the next question and keep going. So let me ask you this
I'm
question,
here. I
Mr.
can hear
Jeremy.
you. Yeah.
Okay. What's your personal definition of success, and how do you measure that in your business?
My personal definition of success. That's a good question. No one's ever asked me that. So I think that setting proper goals is important, short term, medium term, long term. I think being successful is being able to achieve your goals, being able to build substantial wealth where you have money and time freedom, and that you're making an impact on the world. Like, I don't believe that it's just about money. I think you have to make a difference. You have to, have some integrity in your life. You have to have a balanced integrity wheel. Be right with God, be right with your family, all those things. So I think success is multifaceted, health, wealth, mindset, spirituality, all that stuff. But, being able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, I'd say is the true definition of success. That's really how you know you made it. When, like, for instance, on a Thursday night, I can leave Fort Myers and head up north and not really have to ask anybody for anything. I can just go and do what I want to do.
That's so true. That's so true, my friend. That's so true. Now, we got people all around the world watching us tonight live. What are some of the advice you give for entrepreneurs who are trying to stand out in a crowded market?
I would focus on your brand and your message. I think there's so much noise out there because everybody has a smartphone and can record content that you really have to, your brand and your message has to stand out, and you have to have like a unique selling proposition these days because there's a million people who do every business. So what makes you special? Find a niche and drive yourself into it. Um, but also, you can beat 90% of the world by just working harder. You don't have to have any like real differentiating factor because most people are lazy, and most people will let you come and take it from them. So if you just work your butt off, you'll beat 90% of the people. Now there will be people out there who are more talented than you, but 10% market share is plenty enough to get rich.
Very good. That's so true. You just got to outwork everybody. I think about my mentor, Kenny Trout. His mom, Nadine, said, Kenny, you don't have to be the best. Just do your very best and just go to work. And that's
Oh,
so
for
true,
sure,
sir.
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
What are the key turning points or milestones that help you scale your business? What would you say to that?
Um, for the restaurant businesses, we won a ton of awards, like Best of Cape Coral, which was like the local newspaper, vote. The people voted on that. And the first year we won 6 of them, and that really put us on the map as far as year after year after year building on that foundation. For construction, we built a multifamily sixplex very early on in our journey, and those things don't pop up very often in my hometown. So when it did, it really put us on the map. The fact that we were both willing to take on a project like that, and two, that we could actually execute it and complete it as a new company, I think that really gave us a nice foothold because now every investor in town knew exactly who we were. And we're a niche company. We only work with investors. We don't do any retail builds. Like if someone wants a dream home, we're just not the people for them. We only work with investors trying to help them make money. So things like that, I think if you get the chance to to make a splash, you better execute, because you might only get that shot once. So we worked day and night to make sure that we were able to come through for our client, knowing that it might be the only shot we ever got.
So work like your hair's on fire.
Right, exactly. Work like there's someone coming to eat your lunch tomorrow.
That's right. And not only that, stay focused. And I like what you said. You're in a niche market. People don't understand that. Don't be a generality, but be a niche.
Yeah, they say knowledge is power. I don't believe that. I think specialized knowledge is currency. So, knowing a little bit about everything, that's not going to do anything for you. But having specialized knowledge in one area or two areas, it will get you as wealthy as you possibly want.
I like that. Specialized knowledge, folks. Listen, I must repeat what he said. Specialized knowledge is a currency. Let me say that again. Specialized knowledge is a currency. That was a mic drop right there. That was powerful. Let me ask you this question: how would you manage work life balance as your business grows?
I don't think that's a real thing. I think that's like a fantasy. Um, if you don't sacrifice for what you want, then what you want will become the sacrifice. So,
Wow.
if your goal is to start a business so you can spend more time with your children, you are going to have to ultimately sacrifice time with your kids in the short term to build your business. If you're going to start a business because you want to make more money, you're going to have to sacrifice your earning potential at the very beginning in order to start your business and get it going. There is no way for balance. That's an illusion.
Yep.
The most successful people I know in the world, they do their best, but there is no balance. It's just not a real thing. Now, eventually there will be. Like right now, I mean, I could not work for months and be fine. But you're going to have to work your tail off to be able to get there. So I think I hear people say that where they're like, oh, I only want to work 40 hours because I want work-life balance. Well, then you're never going to make it. And you probably should have just kept your job. Um, because you're gonna, like I said, you're gonna have to sacrifice something. So
You are.
stop
Mhm.
listening to these fake gurus online trying to teach you about, oh, I can teach you in 15 hours a week on how to do it. That's a bold-faced lie. The only thing they're getting from you is money. They're not going to teach you anything.
Good answer, because like you said, you're driving from Fort Myers tonight up to Atlanta, and not only that, in the next couple of weeks, you'll be going to take a month-long vacation around the United States and Canada because you put the time in and work it early. Now you get the benefits of the payoff is being able to sell several businesses, cash out millions of dollars, and take time off and do the things that you want to do. Like I know you're an avid golfer. I know you're going to be traveling
Yep.
around the United States just golfing to different courses. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's the
Last
price you
year
got
I
to
did
pay,
it.
like you said in the beginning. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
last year all of June. Last year I did a month, all of June. Went around, traveled. This year we're going to travel quite a bit more in June and July. Just see the world and enjoy it. I got my road dog with me, Danny. You guys make sure you follow his Instagram. He's a 2030. Um, Hell of a basketball player. He actually has a basketball tournament this weekend too. So it's nice to be able to travel with him. And Mr. Thomas, you got to spend some time with him a couple weeks ago down in Miami.
Yeah, I met you guys down in Miami. We had lunch. You took me out for my birthday for lunch and got over to Miami early. And then you took Danny out to see the Heat play. And then he was actually
Yep.
on the basketball court with the Heat at halftime.
Yep. That was pretty cool.
That is cool. That's the thing that people understand about the blessings of going in, working hard, and being able to enjoy the better things of life later down the road a little bit. If you could just put it off for self-delayed gratification, go to work now, build it, and then you can enjoy the rest of your life, how you ever want to do it, and who you want to do it with.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a handsome young man. Can you give an example of how you use creativity to overcome business challenges?
Yeah, sure. So I had this condition growing up called poverty, and I didn't have any money, so I always had to get scrappy in order to find things out. So um, I always was willing to take a risk. So I bought Bitcoin. I was one of those people who bought Bitcoin under $100, and I always knew I wanted to get in real estate. So I was able to take a $500 initial investment into Bitcoin, and a few years later convert that into my first rental property in Chicago. So I basically spent $500 for my first condo in Chicago. That was a cash flowing piece of real estate, and I've always looked for arbitrage opportunities like that. Just you don't really need money, right? There's several types of currency. Like I mentioned earlier, there's specialized knowledge, there's your time, there's your network. All these things can turn into money, so you don't actually need dollars in your bank account to be able to make a deal happen. There's creative financing if you need that. You just have to be hungry, and you'll find a way. So I tell
Mm-hmm.
people that all the time. Like, don't let the money problem stop you from making deals happen and making things happen. When I bought my first house, I did it for $500. My first um, my first primary home, I had $3,350 in the bank, and I put $3,100 down. So you don't need millions of dollars to get started. Just get started and figure it out.
Yeah, that's so true. I bought my first duplex with $3,000 down and assumed the guy's loan, OFHA loan, and I've bought a hotel on a credit card with no money down.
There you
So
go.
people don't understand get creative. They're just taught one way of doing things because that's all they hear everybody else doing. The 85% of people doing the same thing over and over. There's different ways, folks. Trust me. And like you said, his Rolodex, go in there. I mean, there's so many ways you can get into deals if you want it bad enough. Here's my slogan for the year: Go figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, if you find a great real estate deal, you can call 20, 30 investors tack on 10 grand for yourself, and boom, now you're a wholesaler wholesaling real estate. You just have to get
Yeah,
scrappy. That's all it is. It's not hard. People are just too lazy to do it.
yeah. Too lazy to think outside the box. I mean, I bought property. When I went to Cleveland, you were with me when I went to Cleveland. I bought a whole corner
The whole the
and
whole cul-de-sac. Yep.
the cul-de-sac I bought. It wouldn't cost me a dime out of my own pocket. I've had 17 properties up there I bought and never saw to this day. I don't know what they look like. I bought
Yeah.
the numbers, but the
That's
average
that's
person
the thing.
understand. Go figure it out. Go ahead.
No, that you're right. I just think people are just so stuck in their box that they're afraid to. They don't even use their brains anymore. They're just, they've been told 10,000 times by the time they turn 18 what they can't do. They don't even know what they're capable of doing because they don't think. They don't use their brain. They don't have creative, problem-solving skills. They go to
Mm.
work. They punch in. They're dead at 25, but they live till 70.
That's so true. They say the word no, no, no so many times that it's give up to go, so they don't quit. If you take the word no, flip it about upside down, it means on to the next one. You got to go through the numbers, folks. God, it's so easy. And especially today, people are yeah, it's easier today than ever before because people are brain dead. They don't want it. They don't want it bad enough. They just give up so easily. How bad do you want it? Go figure it out, right?
Yeah, and it's funny because like I'm big on entrepreneurship. You know, Danny's 12 years old. He's sitting right next to me. Likes basketball. He likes shoes. We started a shoe flipping business for him, and I told him by the time he's a senior in high school, he'll have $10,000 in the bank. I mean, his ROI is already like 600% from when he started just a few months ago, and it's just piece by piece. He's got inventory, he's got the business going, and it's really not that hard. It's never been
It
easier to
isn't.
make money online. You scan an item, you see what it'll sell for. If it'll sell for more than you can buy it for, then you purchase it and you list it. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
people are too lazy to go to the store. It's just really strange to me.
So strange. So strange.
Yeah.
They have not because they ask not, or they
Yeah, I
don't get
mean,
off their assets.
yeah,
I'd say.
you can go to Goodwill and sell books. You can go to Marshalls and Ross and TJ Maxx and scan clothes and shoes and make six figures online out of your garage. But people are just too lazy to do it. They're too busy watching 4 hours of TV a day and being on social media another 3 hours a day and wasting 7 hours of their day on something that's keeping them broke. If you're going to be on your phone that much, you might as well be making some money while you're doing it.
Bingo. Love it.
Yeah.
Question: How do you stay innovative in a consistent changing market? Ooh.
Yeah, that's so I'm in some very analog industries, right? Like I was in the restaurant industry. There's not a whole lot of innovation there. So what we did is we thought outside the box. We got the first culinary cannabis license in Florida, so where we were allowed to legally put THC and cannabis in food and drinks. So there had not been a new innovation in food and drinks in years. So we just tried to do the best we could with that. And in construction, we just tried to use AI to supplement our workforce and take away any kind of jobs that aren't really necessary. We have been looking into robotics who can lay shingles and 3D printing of houses, but right now it's the technology's not great, so it's still super expensive. But we try to stay on the cutting edge. I read this book years ago called The Inevitables by Kevin Kelly that talks about how technology will change industries. And it was
Yeah.
written 5 or 6 years ago now, and so much of the stuff they talked about has come true. So I've just tried to always be on the front edge. I do a ton of reading. I listen to a ton of interviews about what's coming down the pipe innovations wise, and I just try to stay on the cutting edge of technology because great businesses go out of business all the time because of competitors and innovation and technological changes that they don't keep up with. Case in point, Blockbuster could have bought Netflix for $1 million. Netflix won the streaming wars, and Blockbuster's out of business. Blockbuster was a great business back then, but they didn't adapt with the times, and now they're gone. So it's going to happen over and over and over again to great businesses if they do not keep up with technology. So, I'm not going to become a relic. I'm only 39 still, so we just try to stay
Hmm.
up on the front foot as much as we can.
Okay. Great answer. Let me ask you this question. It came across. It says, "How do you maintain your company culture as your team expands?"
So that's super important. I think it all starts with the leadership at the top, right? You have to hire people with great integrity who are really bought into the mission. And then you have to explain to people why we do the things we do and why we do them, how we do it, right? If people think of your business as just a job, they're not going to keep your standards, right? So we always set the bar super high because I've always felt that if you keep the bar high, you only really lose the losers. But if you set the bar low, you'll lose the winners because good people don't stay around toxic and bad workplaces. And the
True.
only reason I knew how to become a good boss is because I was a bad boss for a long time. When I had the restaurants, I got compared to working for Adolf Hitler, and I'm not joking. One of my bartenders told one of my business partners that, and I had to do some introspection and really like look at myself in the mirror and do some personal development, realize like what it takes to be a good leader and a good boss. And then we've just tried to bring that forward to every other business we've ever been, had. And it's tough to hear that people hate working for you and don't like you. So you have to become the type of boss that people and the type of leader that people want to follow. And I think the easiest way to figure it out is ask yourself an honest question: would you follow you? And if the answer is no, then you got to make a change. So that's kind of we always just try to reflect on, would we follow ourselves? Like, could I count on myself to make good decisions that I can trust that my family's going to be in a good position if I am willing to give you my time and effort, as an employee. So that's a long kind of roundabout answer, but that's really how we try to do it.
Oh, no, that's okay. I'm going to dive a little deeper in that question. Why would he call you that name? Your employee call you that? What made him call you that name and compare you that way?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry again. I couldn't quite hear you.
I said the employee compared you to Hitler. I said, what made him call you and compare you to Hitler?
I was just very strict operator. I I like things a certain way, and when when there's liquor involved, bars have to be ran like pretty tightly because there's no such thing as an honest bartender. Bartenders and waiters steal all the time. So I was very adamant about getting our business back on track. But I went a little too far. I was a little too strict, and I forgot what made a sports bar fun and what made the environment somewhere where people actually want to go. And so I just went a little too far off the deep end because I was so worried about profitability that I forgot that, no matter what industry you're in the people business. So I had to dial it
Right.
back a little bit and remember why we were in hospitality in the first place. And it was to give somebody an awesome experience, great food, good drinks, awesome service, and an environment they want to come back to. So it's easy to get off track sometimes. So it's good to have accountability and hold yourself accountable too.
Good answer. Now, this next question is going to go right on that same lines. What values are most important to you as a business owner?
For myself or
Yeah.
for employees, what are you talking about?
As a business owner, what values are important to you as a business owner? You said one, you were really strict, and you had to realize, hey, whoa, let me pull back on the reins. We're in people business, sports bar. People want to come and have fun, so I had to change the way you start thinking and doing business. So at that point, what became very valuable to you?
Um, I think you have to remember why you do the things you do, right? So like if you have a restaurant, we wanted the Cheers style. Everybody knows everybody. They come there 3 or 4 times a week. They can go there by themselves. Sometimes people forget why they do things, or why they're doing something, and it allows them to get off track. So that's another thing. You have to dial back into like what your mission statement is and why you do the things you're doing, what kind of culture you want to cultivate. And then also like, you have to take yourself unseriously a little bit sometimes. I think people, if you're the president or the CEO if it's a publicly traded company, or all those things that like you feel like this vast amount of pressure because so many people are counting on you. But I think it's like important to just remember, like, look, like for instance, like with the restaurants, it was burgers and fries. We're not paramedics. If someone's burger gets messed up, we'll just make them another one, and we'll buy them a beer while we do it. It's not that serious. So don't take yourself so seriously. You're not like, no one's gonna die. It's just like, it's dinner. They'll have it again tomorrow. Same thing with construction. If I mess up and there's a hole in someone's wall, we'll just fix the hole. It's not that big of a deal. Like, don't take everything so seriously.
Let me ask you this question: how important has networking been in your entrepreneurial journey of networking?
Oh,
How important?
it's so. So for those who don't know, Mr. Thomas and I met through a network marketing company, and I think that network marketing gives you an absolutely unfair advantage in the traditional business world because of the skills you learn. Networking, recruiting good talent, the commitment to personal development, the ability to communicate to multiple different personality types, understanding the personality types. I don't think it's even fair. Networking is the most important thing that you could ever do. If you're bad at everything else and good at networking, you'll still make six figures. Really,
Yeah,
it's the ultimate cheat code.
let me ask you this question: what's the best piece of advice that you could receive from another entrepreneur or mentor? What's the
Believe,
best piece of advice?
believe much bigger, much sooner.
Yeah.
And like, take the lid off your thinking. I actually learned that from you. Stop having a lid on your thinking. Think as big as you possibly is. Like Mike Cardone talks about the 10x rule, and Darren Hardy talks about the compound effect. We grew our construction company from 2 million to 20 million in 11 months.
From
Like a lot
two
of people
million
would
to
think that's
20 million in 11 months.
11 months. Like a lot of people would think that's not possible. We could have went to 40 if we would have thought bigger. The problem is most people don't aim too high and miss. They aim too low and hit. That's the
Very
problem.
good.
They're not thinking big enough.
Great. I've got another question came in. How do you build and maintain a relationship with your investors partners, and collaborators?
So I think it's really important to enroll everybody in the vision of what you're doing and why you're doing it. The one with the investors is easy. Make them money. If you want your investors to be happy, give them a return on investment and make it, under promise and over deliver. Get it back to them faster than you said you would, and don't make their life very hard. With your partners, I think it's important to calibrate. Like me and my business partner, no joke, we probably talk 5 to 7 times every single day. And the reason why we do that is because we don't want there to be any lapses or miscommunications, because that's what leads to disagreements and ultimately arguments and animosity. So when you talk that many times a day, there's really no chance for any chaos or strife to slide in between your relationship. So, and he's one of my best friends, like literally, like we hang out all the time. I just went to his house yesterday. Like
Mike.
yeah, Mike, he's just a great guy. And when you have that kind of communication, there's no chance for any issues to arise because you're always constantly talking through any small details. And then as far as collaborators, it's the same thing. You want them enrolled in the vision. You want to be able to show them progress, and you want them to know, like, look, our only goal here is to make sure that this project gets completed on time and under budget. And you get them to understand, like, look, nothing here is personal. This is just a house. Doesn't have feelings. You're not going to hurt its feelings by not showing up today to work. If you get there tomorrow, it's going to be okay. So just making sure that we set realistic goals, realistic time frames, and pay people what they're worth.
Yep. And number one thing, make sure your investors get paid off the top. I've done deals where
100%.
they came a little short. I made sure they got taken care of before I got mine. Always, always,
Well,
always.
absolutely, because guess what? There will always be another deal, and you can make plenty of profit. But if your investors aren't making money, they're going to be somebody else's investors real soon.
That's right. I'll always take care of investors, folks. Let that be known.
Yep.
Care less. Take it. I've got deals where my margin was a little thinner than I wanted, but hey, I'll get my investors taken care of. And guess what? There's always a next deal coming to really throw the money at me because I got the next one coming and they all got paid, all got taken care of. And that's a beautiful thing about having the investors and take care of them. Number one, take care of your investors.
100%. I mean, we had an investor that she signed an agreement in 2021, couldn't get her bank financing up. She didn't start her project till 2024. We still honored the original price because we knew that long term we would get more business from her. We ended up
Absolutely.
losing $3,000 on the deal. But guess what? She was so happy. She referred us her friends, her family, all kinds of people, left us 5-star reviews, sent us cookies to the office. Now that $3,000 in the grand scheme of things doesn't really matter. But that
It doesn't.
relationship and her knowing that we did what we said we were going to, even though we didn't have to, that's that's worth more than $1 million to me because
What?
integrity is what you do when no one's looking. And
Yeah.
we didn't have to do this, but we did. She's super happy, and like I said, it'll lead to 10 houses in the future. So sometimes you got to be willing to make some short-term sacrifices. You can't be in a desperate position to where you need every dollar, to where you can't operate from a place of abundance.
Yeah. One word I would call it priceless.
Yeah, priceless.
You didn't lose
I
three
couldn't think
thousand.
of that word.
You didn't lose 3,000. You just put 3,000 in the next deal and passed it, paid it forward. That's all that was. But people don't understand that. Here again, you and I understand part of winning is losing, and part of losing is winning. As long as I can win 80% of the time, maybe lose 20, I'm okay with that. I'm still ahead of the game. Would you agree?
For sure.
I don't know
Yeah,
why
that
people think that's illogical. They can win 100%, 100%. No, it doesn't work. It's not reality.
doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
That's the thing. People will do one deal, they'll lose, and they'll say, "Oh, I tried investing. It's not for me." It's like, well, you did one deal. You probably didn't do enough due diligence, and you lost your $5,000 or $10,000. That doesn't mean that investing's bad. It means you're a bad investor. So go learn, get better, and win the next five. It's not that
Yeah,
hard.
exactly. Exactly. Oh, I'm still got my thumb in my mouth. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I totally agree, man. That's what
Yeah,
stopped most people. They still cry about the one deal they lost on and they passed up 10, 15 more that could have made instead of 5 or 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 grand. They're still crying about the 3,000 they lost.
you know what? And on that point, real quick, sometimes the best deal you ever get is the one you pass on. You don't have to be involved in every deal, even the ones especially you want to. Sometimes those are the ones you got to walk away from. If everything doesn't make sense and the people who are running that deal don't have integrity, then don't do it. There's a million deals that'll pop up. Don't go chasing anything. There will always be enough good deals.
Absolutely. My phone's always weekly on deals and stuff, and I pass up 90% of them. But the ones that I do, oh boy, I like catching a big fish because after you do them, you understand what to look for. And like I said, become a better investor. And that's what people don't understand. Become a better investor. You, not the
And
deal.
I love
You
it. I
get
love
better.
passing notes.
Yep.
Yep, exactly right.
Yeah. Yeah. Next question. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You got
No,
me
I'm
fired up
just
over
listening.
here.
Go ahead.
What's next for your business? What's next for your
So,
business? What's exciting plans or projects that you have in the works?
so we have a couple things. We have a public-private partnership with a local municipality here that hopefully we're going to put together a multi-sports facility down in our area, which would be a huge project. At least $10 million. And then I talked to some people today actually about, I don't know, what was it, 4 hours ago, Danny? We talked um, about starting a fund, a private equity fund that's going to partner with Legacy to build 30 single family houses, 15 duplexes, and two sixplexes a year, and generating a rent to or a build to rent model with a IRR of about 30%. So over a 5 year period, your MOIC is like almost 2.5x. So we're really excited about that. Hoping to launch that in the next 90 days, and drive some capital into the business and really take us to the next level.
Man, that's amazing. I'm just watching your growth since I've been knowing you and watching all these millions. I mean, it's just crazy. Folks, I mean, here again, for everybody around the world, listen, you could do this if you stay after it and go do your homework. And due diligence is very important. What advice would you give someone who's thinking about starting a business today?
Do it as fast as you can, and spend as little money as possible on the first one because it'll probably fail. But that's okay. Get your feet wet, learn the strategy, learn how to start an LLC, get a good CPA, get going, get out there to market, figure out if it's something the market actually wants, but just do it. Fail as fast as you can because success loves speed. You
Uh,
know,
uh,
if you start a landscaping company and you realize you hate landscaping, then go do something else. And if you start a pressure washing company and you realize you're allergic to water, then go start a pool company. And if you don't like a pool company, then be an author. Do something. Just do something. Like, I'm not telling you what to do. I don't know anything about you if you're listening to this, but just get off the couch, go do something, right? They say you could be walking at 1 mile an hour and you're lapping the people on the couch. Spend the time you would normally spend watching TV and being on social media, just trying to build something. Do
yeah.
drop shipping, start an Amazon store, do network marketing. There's so many easy ways to make money from your phone. Just do something. Like, literally, bet on yourself for once in your life. Stop waiting and just do something.
I love it. I love it. Not only does success love speed, but let me tell you something else out there, ladies and gentlemen, as you're listening. Money loves speed as well.
Sure
Money definitely
does.
loves speed. It
Yeah,
does.
and there's a term called the velocity of money, where the
Mm-hmm.
faster you can get your money in and out of deals, the more money you make. It's just you really and people use opportunity cost as a reason for not doing things sometimes. Just take a shot at something. If you lose 5 grand, 30 years from now, it's not going to business that you invested 5 grand in that made, like, for instance, we bought a restaurant for $200,000 and sold it 18 months later for $1.36 million. If I lost a third of 200,000, which is 70 grand, on my deathbed, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, I never recovered from that 70,000. But that 1.36 million completely changed my life. So don't be afraid to take a risk. I mean, it's just money. Like, who cares? You can make plenty of money. It's all good. Just don't be afraid to fail. Failure is part of life. Failure is part of success. Every successful
Exactly.
person I know has failed and went broke. Every single one, including both of us on the call. So,
Yeah, I failed many times, and I'm gonna fail in the future too. But it's part of
yeah,
winning.
it's
It's
part of
funny.
winning.
We talked about this. I was at church last night, and I talked to. I do about 4 or 5 talks a year for young kids, junior high school kids at those levels in different high schools. And some of the people last night, were, hey, Mr. Thomas, you were the guy here last year for our class. We're fifth graders, and I remember what you said about and they remember what I talked to them a year ago, and they
Yeah,
invited me out to come out to June 5th to come in their graduation. But the blessing was here again, one of the girls said to me, Mr. Thomas, oh my, there's 5 of them start surrounding me. Oh my God. And they were sharing with me, look, I remember I got a couple $100. I bought some stock and I'm scared to lose it. And it just goes back. I said, young lady, how old are you? She said, I'm 17. I said, you got your whole life to make mistakes. $100
Yeah,
or two here and there. You'll learn as you go. And she said,
yeah,
I never looked at it that way. And a lot of times people in life are so scared to lose, they can't win. Scared money can't make money.
yeah. And think about that $100 as an investment in your education.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Small
you're
amount.
yeah, you're paying to learn.
Yeah, a college book, a high school book costs $200 or $300. I mean, duh, come on. It's not,
Yeah,
it's really a small price, right?
yeah, for sure.
Let me ask you this question. What are some of the biggest challenges, Jeremy Benji, you had facing in your early stages of your business? What's some of the biggest challenges?
Um, I trusted the wrong people multiple times. Understanding that integrity is part of every phase of your life. So if you have a friend who seems like a good person, but they constantly cheat on their wife, they're not a good person. So, or they are an alcoholic or a drug addict, or um, I made the mistake of trusting the wrong people, and I would be a lot farther in life if I didn't have so many setbacks because I had terrible business partners in the beginning. But it's taught me what to look for and how to vet people now. And, I had friends and even family members who screwed me over for money. And greed is a human emotion you can count on even more than love. And man, I learned that the hard way. And, I've lost thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars just because people are greedy and have no integrity. And it's all good because I've always been able to pivot and keep my enthusiasm and keep going full speed forward. And those people have floundered because they're the worst type of people in the world, and they can't get out of their own way because no matter where they
Yeah,
go, they'll be.
there they are.
That was the biggest problem at the beginning, was trusting the wrong people and not understanding the importance of integrity with people close to you when it came to business.
Yeah, good answer. That's so true. We all, wow, family and friends that do it sometimes. Is there any books, podcasts, or resources that have been significant in the impact on your financial mindset and or journey? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'd follow the Al Thomas official All Things Business YouTube channel. I know you'll get a lot of value out of that. Um, I just relaunched one of my YouTube channels called Syndicate Investing, which is an introductory like lessons to what's a stock, what's a bond, what's crypto, all those things. If anybody's looking for, elementary level education, but a ton of books, Think and Grow Rich, Outwitting the Devil, The Compound Effect. One of the most impactful books was How to Win Friends and Influence People. Really talks about how to be a good communicator and how to get people to like you and trust you and do business with you. But a couple hundred books a year, and I have for decades. So I would just say find the books and authors you like and just read as much stuff as you can, because you're going to get a nugget or two from everything you pick up and listen to. It's
Mhm.
just, your brain, what it consumes is important. So instead of watching the Kardashians, listen to podcasts, you know uh, listen to interviews.
Yeah,
I like faith-based books, even though I'm in the world. I just think the message when it comes to faith-based books, especially, like Secrets of the Vine and things like that, um, I love that book. So it talks about how God will prune you or punish you depending on, if you're living life right by God. So there's a lot of books that I like. I mean, shoot, we could do a 45-minute talk just talking about books we like. So I would just read more, listen to more things as much as you can.
good answer. Speaking of books, I'm going to put a plug in for our book club. We have a book club that we do on Monday nights, right back here live on Monday nights at 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Coast time. Same time you started this podcast, Monday nights. And guess what book? You talk about outwitting the devil? There it is right there. We're
It's a
going through this
great
book
book.
right now. We're going through that book right now. So come join us this coming Monday night, 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Coast time, right back on here on YouTube Live. And we have that book club we just launched, and we go through books. And the other one you talked about, we'll be reviewing those as well. So thank you so much. That's Time for me to get a little plug there for that. So we're all about education, folks. That's why this channel is called All Things Business, not just network marketing, not just real estate, not just insurance, not just business. We're all things business. So we have business people from all walks of life sharing their testimony. Some of them are people that I've coached and mentored, but they're here to help you get over your fear and also dive in and go for it. And why not you? Let me ask you another question. What's the one thing you wish, Jeremy, that you had known, Mr. Jeremy Bhimji, before you started your business,
One thing I wish I knew.
or
Um,
had known before you started your business that you might have known, which you wish you had known?
I wish I knew how to creatively put deals together without my own money. I would be 10 years ahead of where I am right now had I learned those lessons earlier. Um, like I said, creative financing is still financing. Your network, your time, your resources, um, creatively putting deals together, your network, all that stuff. I mean, I wish I would have, when I was 25, if I would have known that, I would have been a multimillionaire by 25. I just did not understand that you could make tons of deals happen with just effort without money. I really wish, I wish I could beat that into people's heads. You could have $0 in the bank and still make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year doing deals just by getting scrappy.
Hmm. Yeah, it's so true. I do. People, you don't need money, folks. You really don't. You got to have the effort, the belief, the trust, and build up a camaraderie, and also make your word integrity. Your word is solid as gold. Integrity is everything. Like he said about the guy cheating on his wife, and I don't want you as a business partner. I mean, there's so much. I mean, you got to have integrity. Integrity is high on the list, folks. And be a man slash woman of your word. Make your word say something, mean something. When I shake people's hand today, if I shake their hand in a little flimmy, like a little spaghetti, a noodle, no, grab it. I want to look in your eyeballs. I want you to squeeze so hard your eyeballs pop out of your head. I want somebody that has some substance, right?
Yeah. And
And
one thing
close.
I'll tell people who are starting off, I don't care if you have $0 in the bank. When you walk into a place, own the space you occupy. Have some posture. Have a backbone. Have a purpose. Even if you're not where you want to be, know you're going to get there. People can pick people out of a room who don't have any confidence or strength. Um, no one's going to follow you or want to work with you when you walk in and you have no posture or backbone. Even if you have $0 in the bank, make sure that you have a presence to you, to where people say, look, he might not have it now, but he's going to be going somewhere, and that's someone who I want to work with because he has a commanding way about him and an aura about him, to where people know that you're going to be something one day, whether you're down in the dumps now. I see so many people that have no posture. They walk into a room and they hide and cower. Don't do that. Don't do that. Have a backbone.
That's right. So important. As you were saying, I was going back in my head thinking about transaction. I walked in with no money and walked out with checks.
There you
Just
go.
because an idea, I put an idea together. And that is the highest level of success is ideas, putting ideas together, and the money will flow. You just got to find the money will find you. Trust me, that's a biggie. So in closing, give us a few words in closing, sir. I'm just excited. Man, I'm so excited right now.
Yeah, I would just say, like I said, believe bigger sooner. Take a shot on something. Start today. Don't start tomorrow. Don't think like, oh, I'll start on Monday. Get off this call. Go start right now. Log into your computer. Create a business website. Go on. If you're in Florida, go on Sunbiz. Start a business. Stop putting stuff off. Like tomorrow doesn't actually ever come. The only thing you can do is live in the present. So
Hmm.
I hate when I like quick story. The other day it was like 1 o'clock. I called the guy and he's like, well, let's circle back around tomorrow. Why? It's 1 o'clock. Why are you wrapping up for the day already? The sun doesn't go down till 8. Like, keep working. Like, just do things now. Like my buddy of mine, we had lunch and he met a person that I wanted to meet. And I said, oh, call him right now. And he's like, well, let me text him first. Why? He's got a cell phone. Call him. Let's call him right now. So we called him. We set up a meeting, and now it's leading to a potential $10 million project. Stop putting stuff off. If we
Yeah,
would if
do
we
it
would have put
now.
it off till tomorrow, there might have been someone who slid in there before us who had the same idea. I don't know what anybody else is doing, but I'm working like someone's coming to take everything I got.
Exactly. Work as if it's going to be gone tomorrow. People always put stuff off. If they got four things on their agenda on their plate today, That's like, oh my God, it's like, come on, you can do more than that. I told a guy the other day, how many things do you think the president of the United States have on his plate to do today? Every 15 minutes, he's got something going on. So what? Because you got four things, your day is full. That's not full.
No,
Your
that's
day's not.
you could do that by 9.
Yeah, people waste so much time. By 9 o'clock, I'm done. It's so crazy. People call me at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'll answer my phone, good afternoon. They're like, it's only seven
Yeah,
in the morning. I'm up at four. I'm up at
yeah,
four. I'm up at
exactly.
four. I got things to do, people to see, calls to make, the babies to kiss and hands to shake. People are
For
so
sure.
basic, and they wonder why they can't have more because they're not trying to be more.
That's good though. That's your anybody listening to this call, that's your competition.
Yeah. Look in the mirror.
People who
I've been doing this for
people
36 years. Love
who
it.
do not work. So all you have to do is show up, answer the phone, and do what you say you're going to do, and you'll beat half the people out there. If you have any kind of work ethic, you should dominate in your space.
And one more thing, smile.
Yeah, be happy. People like people
Is
who
he
are happy.
happy? Yeah. Well, listen, my friend, this has been phenomenal. Hey, those folks out there looking for a business, I tell you what you do. If you're looking for a business, leave it below an address or a name or email, and we'll get a hold of you and we'll show you a little business that you can do from home for a couple $100. We'll show you how to get that started. Those who are not already involved in some kind of business, because that's another thing we do. We help coach people in that respect. So if you're not in the business right now, want to get in the business, got a couple $100, we'll just leave your name or email or phone number below. We'll get a hold of you and we'll show you something to bless you. I mean, we'll bless you. Does that make sense? Okay, great. Well, listen, I want to thank Mr. Jeremy Bench. He's on the road from Fort Myers, Florida, up to Atlanta, Georgia, and then he's going to take a vacation after that and travel for about 6 weeks around the United States to do some golfing. I want to thank him for taking time out from his schedule. It was great meeting Danny there a couple of weeks ago. I was in Miami, and man, I mean, think about how many kids get to go to a game, sit on the floor, and then shoot basketball with the players of the Heat. It's crazy. But here again, why not? Why not you? What are your goals? What are your dreams? What are your desires? Why not you? Start tonight. Like I said, don't put it off again tomorrow, because tomorrow is not promised. And I want to thank Mr. Jeremy Benji for coming on tonight. I hope you guys got a blessing out of this. And please send this out to several people and say, you guys got to listen to this. And if I were you, honestly, I listen to it over and over and over again and take notes until it sinks in and move you into action. Ladies and gentlemen from around the world, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you got a blessing. And with that, we'll say thank you so much for joining. Take care. God bless. And as always, we'll see you at the top. I will see you over the top.